It was Curtis Jones, the manager, makes a bold decision. He drops Cheryl Kwanzaa. The centre-back playing right back goes for Curtis Jones instead. And let's bring your stats up now to show you how Curtis performed. 7.6, 7.1, 7.7. Ironically, Jay, for example, we mentioned Virgil van Dijk earlier, and like he got... overall, Curtis's marks off the algorithm were lower, but I thought like he was absolutely bloody fantastic.
Yeah, I thought he does really well. Yeah, it was a toss-up going into the game. I think generally... when we were previewing it, I think us three all agreed with the decision. Nothing against Kwanzaa, but we saw how much he struggled against Newcastle
with the ball.
Everton, it gives Everton a different issue there when Curtis is coming forward with the ball. Now, I wouldn't say he did anything incredible with the ball going forward, but it's just somebody who's got that passing accuracy, that ability to retain possession. There were a few times in the first half when the whole thing with this slot team in comparison to Klopp has been a bit more patient. He was quite happy to turn inside, recycle it. And then as it was getting towards half time, I'm thinking, is it a little bit too slow or whatever? But then at least he's not losing the ball. He's keeping moves going. There were a few where Everton would clear it. He'd win the ball, he'd recycle it, we'd start again. I thought second half he was really, really good. He was, it's funny you were saying about a Scouser, should we play him right back, should we play him midfield? I thought Curtis actually did a little bit of that himself, which we haven't really seen from Alexander-Arnold this year, but there were times when he was cutting inside. Liverpool was searching for that first goal. There were times when he was quite far central, but he was getting involved. I would potentially, I mean, we don't know if Bradley's going to be able to come back or what, but I think it was a good move from Slot. I think he's repaid the faith. I think, yeah. Partly, I think it's interesting because Everton's tactics were so long ball. I was wondering, is he going to get tested on the outside? Like teams target Trent, try and beat Trent on the outside. We didn't really see any of that, but his defensive work, I thought, I can't think of anything that he did wrong. He dealt with everything wrong. There was one right at the end, which I think gets given for offside, but he takes it just off Branthwaite's head with a great touch. So I was really impressed with his defending, and I thought his attacking wise, his passing was good, his shielding of the ball was good, his ball retention, all of that stuff that
player, mate. And
yeah.
Again, he's another one. He gets loads of stick, and I know I went a bit viral earlier for me Diogo Jota celebration. And I know if anyone hasn't seen it, yeah, whatever, we'll talk about it later. He was getting a lot of stick when I was on the watch along, and it done me head in. But Curtis, he was the most accurate passer on the day, who played more than half, 93%. That's what he was in the team for. Because he can invest. I think the manager realised Kwanzaa defensively it will be better than Curtis Jones, but actually we're better defensively by keeping the ball.
Yeah.
And if you have the ball a lot, then it doesn't really matter. You don't have to, because Everton didn't have a kick really. They just kept webbing it long and trying to hope for the best. It was, and listen, it nearly worked for them. If Beto, if Beto's better, for lack of a better phrase, then they might have worked. They might have won 1-0 up, and it would have been a difficult game for Liverpool. Thankfully, he fluffed his lines, but when you play on the margins like they try to do, that you're gambling on making one chance. You're always taking a risk there. The fact that Jones can keep the ball moving, like I mentioned before, better pass accuracy than everybody else. Only lost the ball 5 times, completed 68 of his 73 passes. Creates a chance. Yeah, he gets some. He's credited with one key pass as well. And also, he wasn't a liability defensively.
Yeah.
Like if you play someone out of position, you're just thinking, can you do enough? But actually, he was probably, I say he wasn't a liability, he was probably better than that. He was quite good. Everton's tactics were strange. I thought he'd target him more, and they didn't. They went at the centre-halves instead, but he was good on the ball, Jay, and he more than held his own defensively. His position, he was, that one you mentioned before, yeah, it's offside, but he's not to know. And he's in the perfect position, and listen, I'll say it now, I've seen the proper right back sometimes not be in that position. It inverts and you get yourself a bit confused sometimes. Jones did his job really, really well. He played like a really good right back. He did a very good, Trent impression. It wasn't quite Trent. He hasn't got quite the Hollywood range of passing Trent's got, but he did a very similar job in terms of what he was asked to do.
Yeah, I think he. when I'm thinking other emergency right backs, I remember Bacesic played a game there once last season. I think he was far above some other standing right backs that we've got. I think he suits this team more than Kwanzaa does, even though Kwanzaa's naturally a defender. I think talking about people giving him grief in the chat, I think he's one of those players, a bit like a Henderson or maybe a Milner, where when he's focused, I think because we've seen him score that incredible goal when his first goal against Everton when he was a kid, and we've seen him beat players with incredible skill and get out of tight areas, and we know that he is really good at using the ball. But when I think he's becoming this mature footballer now, having played with the likes of Henderson and Milner, when he's thinking, don't take a risk, let's just play something sensible here, let's keep the ball, we're on top. I thought that build up of pressure that led to the goal in the second half, it's players like him going, well, we've had these hemmed in for 5 minutes here. I'm not just going to blam a shot in from 35 yards, or I'm not going to try a ridiculous Beckham cross that's going to get headed away by Branthwaite or something like that. So sometimes I can kind of understand people are saying oh, he's not doing this, he's not doing that. He's maturing as a footballer. He's becoming a sensible footballer. He's becoming a footballer that wins you trophies, essentially. And I think his manager's going to be so pleased with him after today. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we'd all like to see Bradley back and maybe Trent. I don't know what Trent's fitness is, but certainly I'd like to see him there. I'd like to see him there against Fulham as well.
And honestly, I got a bit of criticism. Again, we were live before the game. We're like, what's this team? I think, Jones right back, Jota playing up front. Actually, he half knows what he's doing, this manager. He knows what he's doing in this league. He's won plenty of games in this league. Go back to it, 26 games unbeaten now. He knows what he's doing. And he's obviously, he's learned from maybe the final. He might have learned from what happened at Goodison as well. I think he learns quite quickly from his mistakes. Again, people could have argued who would have played up front. I wouldn't have played Jota, for example. I think I would have maybe gone with Diaz, and we'll talk about them later. They both did well in their natural positions. But it's a brave call to pick Curtis Jones at right back in a derby, because if it goes wrong, you look like an idiot. You look like the fella, with all due respect, who had Alexis McAllister marking Dan Burn off corners, and people are going, what's he doing again? What? But actually, he knew what he was doing, and Curtis repaid the face that the manager showed him, Jay. Yeah,
it is bold, actually, when you say, because it's been pretty much exclusively praise all year. And we said it ourselves. I mean, there's been the odd little thing we've questioned here and there, but in the main, we've been winning games. And then, after that performance against Newcastle, I thought, I actually disagree with the manager, and I think he was wrong, and he's trying to justify it after the fact, and he's trying to say it's execution rather than the plan and things like that. So it is a bit of a bold. He could have been more conservative and gone, I'll just play a defender there. But I think it's worked, because when somebody like Jones is on the ball, when we're getting in the final third, I was looking to see, are we going to get any triangles with Salah and Szoboszlai? And there was a little bit of that. It wasn't free-flowing, like a Nike advert or whatever, let's have it right. But teams, when Jones has got the ball and Salah's making a run, or Szoboszlai's making a run, or someone's making a run in the centre forward position, they are going to be worried about what he's going to do with it. Whereas Kwanzaa, they're probably thinking, let's just let him just float across in, or, they're not going to be worried about Kwanzaa's delivery or Kwanzaa's ability to play a through ball. So it's just naturally it's another thing for them to deal with, as opposed to playing a more defensive player like Kwanzaa. So yeah, it's a gamble that definitely worked from Slot.
I would give him another match. I know, and I thought Diaz was fabulous. We will speak about Diaz later on the show. If you're watching this part on YouTube, the full show is available on redmenplus.com. In fact, if you can't Redmen Plus now and use the promo code WATCH for watch along, WATCH, you'll get 50% off if you sign as a yearly captain. Go and check it out. We spoke about Van Dijk earlier. We're going to be speaking about Diaz and Diogo Jota later. I would give it to Curtis for the pure fact that he was played out of position in such a high profile game when nerves were jangling a little bit. I mentioned before, Liverpool's running the Premier League, but they were beaten handily in the cup final. Yeah. They were beaten over two legs by PSG on penalties. Maybe if confidence was rocking and like that, and it's a derby game against a team who know what you're going to get. Yeah, I applaud Kits. I think I would give him man of the match for that. Not taking away from Diaz, who I thought was fabulous, but I think circumstantial wise, I'd go with Curtis Jones. Let us know in the comment section, by the way, your guys' thoughts on on Curtis' performance. Because I thought he was brilliant. The scouts are in the team. The only one that we had today, wasn't it? And to be fair, the other scouts are full time embraced him. Trent was made up for him, which was good to see as well.